Welcome back to the AI Daily Brief. Right now, the annual World Economic Forum is going on in Davos. And as much as people love to hate on the event, it is a good chance every year to see the pulse of where the conversation is among global leaders. And while this year, of course, much of the conversation is focused around Greenland, there is another profound shift that is also getting a significant amount of airtime, which is, of course, AI, but not just AI in general, but specifically the way that timelines are accelerating. Both Anthropic's Dario Amodei and Google DeepMind's Demis Hassabis had numerous interviews yesterday. In fact, Dario almost feels like he's on a little press tour. And let's just say many of the headlines were pretty significantly attention-grabbing. For both of these folks, AGI timelines are shifting forward. Now, Demis has it on a 5-year timeline, and I think overall, sort of gives the impression that his sense is that the last mile to AGI is perhaps more difficult than we give it credit for. In other words, not just a matter of throwing more compute and recursively self-improving code. Dario, on the other hand, thinks that things are coming much more quickly. He's putting AGI on much closer to a 2-year timeline, and honestly, one gets the impression when watching these interviews that he actually thinks it's even closer than that, and that the 2-year timeline almost feels like him hedging to not sound insane. This, I think, is important context for some of the comments that got the most attention, which came when Amodei said that he believed that selling chips to China was akin to selling nukes to North Korea. Now, these comments came during a joint interview with Demis Hassabis, during which, of course, the Trump administration's recent approval of NVIDIA selling advanced chips to China was a major topic of conversation. Amodei argued that the administration was making in his words, a major mistake that could have incredible national security implications. He said, "We are many years ahead of China in our ability to make chips, so I think it would be a big mistake to ship these chips. I think this is crazy. It's a bit like selling nuclear weapons to North Korea." Amodei continued, "The CEO of the Chinese companies say it's the embargo on chips that's holding us back. They explicitly say this. And at this point, it's basically the only area where we are meaningfully ahead." While DeepMind CEO Hassabis doesn't share Amodei's dire concerns about China, he does think people need to update their mental framework about China's capabilities. He reiterated his notion that China is about 6 months behind the West, but he also reiterated the fact that he doesn't think that so far the Chinese labs have shown they're able to innovate past what the Western labs can do. He said, "They're very good at catching up to where the frontier is, and increasingly capable of that. But I think they've yet to show they can innovate beyond the frontier." Now, interestingly, all of this brought up the question of how society should respond. And in fact, a couple of times, they were asked if they would pause and slow down.
Some folks have advocated for a pause to give regulation time to catch up, to give society time to sort of adjust to some of these changes. In a perfect world,
Yes.
if you knew that every other company would pause, if
Yes.
every country would pause, would you advocate for that?
I think so. I mean, I've been on record saying what I'd like to see happen. It was always my dream of the kind of the roadmap, at least I had when I started out DeepMind 15 years ago and started working on AI, 25 years ago now, was that as we got close to this moment, this threshold moment of AGI arriving, we would maybe collaborate, in a scientific way. I sometimes talk about setting up an international CERN equivalent for AI, where all the best minds in the world would collaborate together to kind of figure out what we want from this technology and how to utilize it in a way that benefits all of humanity. And I think that's what's at stake. Unfortunately, it kind of needs international collaboration, though, because even if one company or even one nation or even the West decided to do that, it has no use unless the whole world agrees, at least on some kind of minimum standards.
Now, if you're sitting there thinking to yourself, everything about what you just heard, from the very framing of the question to the response itself, is sort of irrelevant in a world where there's absolutely no way that you're going to get that sort of cooperation, I think Anthropic's Dario sounds like he would agree with you.
I prefer Demis's timeline. I wish we had 5 to 10 years, so it's possible he's just right and I'm just wrong, but assume I'm right and it can be done in 1 to 2 years. Why can't we slow down to Demis's timeline?
Well, you could just slow down.
Well, no, but the reason we can't do that is because we have geopolitical adversaries building the same technology at a similar pace. It's very hard to have an enforceable agreement where they slow down and we slow down. And so if we can just not sell the chips, then this isn't a question of competition between the US and China. This is a question of competition between me and Demis, which I'm very confident that we can work out.
And maybe it would be good to have a slightly slower pace than we're currently predicting, even my timelines, so that we can get this right societally. But that would require some coordination that is...
But let's-
hard.
I prefer your timelines.
Yes, I think it would be better for many reasons.
That I'll concede.
Now, as you might imagine, the AI pause folks were out in force after this. Michael Trozzi retweeted one of these clips and said, 4 months after our hunger strike, Demis Hassabis finally agreed that he would pause if everyone else also paused. However, we can't have only one company say that. This requires international coordination. To get up on my soapbox for a minute, it is not that I am unsympathetic to the folks who are concerned about the magnitude of social disruption that AI could represent. I tend to have a different sense than many of those folks about the way that things play out on many vectors, including the particular nature of job disruption, what I believe is their underestimation of humans' continued desire to interact with and have humans doing things for them and with them, and many other points as well. But I also believe that simple humility demands that we take this seriously, which is why I find it so frustrating the amount of energy that's poured into the made-for-social media positions like pause AI for 6 months, or data center moratorium, a policy which would so clearly do the exact opposite thing of what its lead advocate Bernie Sanders is actually asking for, which is ensuring the benefits of the technology work for everyone. The point is, we live in the world that we live in. And in the same moment where the Commerce Secretary of the United States told this same Davos forum in no uncertain terms that globalization had failed, this is not the moment where there is either the political capital or the political will for some enforceable cross-border pause. Which is not to say that there isn't a good conversation to be had about what society can do to not just sleepwalk into one of the most profound disruptions it's ever experienced. The one singular thing that connects the full spectrum of AI folks, from the accelerationists to the safetyists, is their belief that the change that AI is bringing is immense. That singular common thread creates the opportunity to build unexpected coalitions to help support public awareness, discussions of policy response, and basically broadly help us adapt to the changes that are coming, but not if we spend all our time on soundbite policies. And indeed, this was another part of the discussion with Amodei and Hassabis. Dario reiterated his concern that we're going to see, in his words, a very unusual combination of very fast GDP growth and high unemployment, and said there's going to need to be some role for governments in a displacement that's this macroeconomically large. Hassabis is more optimistic about our ability to adapt, but also believes that it will take an intentional adaptation. One of my greatest personal frustrations is time wasted on dumb conversations when we desperately need good ones. And I hope that the net effect of comments like these coming out of the World Economic Forum is a positive shift in the discourse. I am, however, not holding my breath. Now, one specific prediction to follow up on. It was actually at Davos last year that Dario started talking about how much of software engineering was going to be overtaken by AI on a very short 1-year type of timeline. People were extremely skeptical, and although one could quibble about the exactness of Dario's timelines, recent history has certainly proved him to be more directionally correct than directionally wrong. In his latest update to that prediction, he is arguing that software engineering will be automatable in 12 months, predicting that AI models will be able to do, in his words, most, maybe all of what software engineers do end-to-end within 6 to 12 months. This is, by the way, part of why his timelines are faster than Demis's, building on our theme from a few days ago of code AGI as a stepping stone to full AGI. It's very clear that Dario believes that the point at which AI can do end-to-end what software engineers do now is where the recursive feedback loop where AI builds better AI begins. And while there will continue to be debates about this, this is an increasingly common point of view. Node.js creator Ryan Dahl recently went viral on Twitter when he posted, "This has been said 1,000 times before, but allow me to add my own voice. The era of humans writing code is over. Disturbing for those of us who identify as software engineers, but no less true. That's not to say software engineers don't have work to do, but writing syntax directly is not it." I think overall, trying to sum up, Andrew Curran does a great job. After discussing the 5 and the 2-year timeline prediction for AGI, Curran writes, Dario said that if he had the option to slow things down, he would, because it would give us more time to absorb all the changes. He said that if Anthropic and DeepMind were the only 2 groups in the race, he would meet with them right now and agree to slow down. But there's no cooperation or coordination between all the different groups involved, so no one can agree on anything. This, in my opinion, is the main reason he wanted to restrict GPU sales. Chip proliferation makes this kind of agreement impossible, and if there is no agreement, then he asked to blitz. This seems to be exactly what he has decided to do. After watching his interviews today, I think Anthropic is going to lean into recursive self-improvement and go all out from here to the finish line. They have broken their cups and are leaving all restraint behind them. Ultimately, folks, last year one got the sense that the conversations about AI at Davos were still highly theoretical. This year, I believe there is a different shift, a different confidence in the predictions based on the evidence that we've had of the last year. On X, Diego Aud wrote, outside our bubble, most people have absolutely no idea that we could be just 6 to 12 months away from powerful AI models capable of accelerating progress in a way that resembles a fast takeoff. Sure, as Dario remarks, there could be physical roadblocks like chips that slow things down. But again, it's nearer than most people think, and the majority of the world is living as if nothing is happening. In perhaps the truest statement I've read this January, he concludes, 2026 will be a weird year. Brace yourself for the next generation of models. That's going to do it for today's AI Daily Brief. Appreciate you listening or watching as always, and until next time, peace.